And hello everybody and welcome to the PropCoach channel. This is Coach Alex signing in. So, what are we going to talk about today? Again, addressed to team leaders and all of you aspiring team leaders out there too. So, the big thing that's on everybody's mind, every other team leader is, how can I control my team? How can I control my team? We hear this a lot when we speak to the individual team leaders out there. We hear things like, my team is so lazy. My team is just not disciplined. They're just not doing what they're supposed to do. My team, they don't know what their priorities are. They're spending so much time doing this and that. I don't know. I just can't seem to manage and control them. So why is that? Now, before we even go into answering that question though, you know what? We shouldn't even be answering that question. Why? It all starts with the self. When it comes to leading a team and managing a team, you basically have zero control. That's right, you have zero control over controlling your team. That's right. You see now, a couple of things to talk about. Number one, we are in the real estate. Now in real estate, it is one unique industry, well, one of the few, where you're not technically managing an employee. You see, a lot of us who are in real estate, we came from a corporate background. We used to manage teams. But under those scenarios, those were different. Those were different contexts, right? Everybody was under a paycheck, and yes, technically, they needed to directly report to you. But in real estate, everybody is a business owner, an entrepreneur. And that's the unique thing about it. Right? So the first thing now is we cannot be managing, right, our individual negotiators, individual agents like they're employees. They're not. It just doesn't work that way. So that's the first thing, talking about the industry. Now, the second thing now is, it comes back to this saying which I really enjoy and I really like this. And we apply it here at coaching, but it very much applies to you as well as a team leader. It goes like this. We cannot teach anybody anything. We can only make them think. So what does it mean for you as a team leader? It basically means this. You cannot tell anybody anything. We can only make them think. That's right. So you see now, there is a difference between leadership and management. Let's boil it down to something that's a bit more relatable and easy to understand. Do you remember or can you recall, let's say, a time when you were told literally what to do? So it sounds something like this, right? Hey, make sure you do your dishes, okay? Hey, clean your bed. Hey, make sure you do your laundry. Hey, make sure you wash your car. Make sure you do this. Make sure you do that. Make sure you do your homework. Go do your homework. If you're anything like me, at the very least, I remember when I used to get told that, I never willingly went on to do that. To do whatever task that I was been told to do. If I did, I'll probably be doing it like, yeah, okay, fine, I'll just go and do it. Yeah. Do you recognize that? Basically, we don't like being told what to do. Nobody does. That typically falls under the umbrella of management. Now, it's not exactly a good way of management, but you see that a lot. A lot of people make that mistake, not just in real estate, all outside. And the problem is, we learn from that. Now, and that's what I'm telling you now. This is why I'm telling you this now. Be aware of it. It doesn't always work. If it didn't work on you, why would it work on somebody else? Now let's go to the other side of things though. Do you have a hobby? Do you have something which you really enjoy doing? When was the first time you started doing whatever you love doing? Let's say baking, for example. You love baking. How did you first discover baking? How did you learn to love about baking? I mean, a lot of people may have found inspiration from, let's say, their grandmother or their mother or their sister, maybe even dad, right? Or they saw someone on TV. How does that work? You see, when you pick up something, it's like, wow, like I'll speak from my own experience, right? Now, when I first started, let's say going to the gym, right? The first time going into fitness. My very first form of inspiration was when I saw, funnily enough, the movie 300. I think a lot of you may have watched that movie, right? They're like, whoa, look at those guys. That was 8-pack. Oh my goodness, they're so big and buff. Holy cow. I remember I was young and naive, right? But that was a form of inspiration. Now, I didn't have King, Leonidas, right? Telling me that, hey, go work out. No, I didn't. In fact, what he did was he showed, right? Even though it's fictional, even though it's through a movie, oh yeah, history too, but that's how basically I got started, how it inspired me, right? Now that right there, you see now, success, genius leaves clues. That right there is a form of leadership. You see, if we can't control our teams, right? But how can we help our teams to make positive change? Yeah, ultimately that's what we're after, right? We're not trying to control our team so that we can control them. We're trying to control them so that they can create positive change. So what can we do to help create positive change? Now here are a few very simple tips. Number one is really all about leading by example. If you want to show somebody, if you want to educate somebody on, let's say, how to do cold calls, the first question now is, do you do cold calls yourself? It's always about first leading by example so that people can see. They can take after your example. Now, the second thing that you can do now is, instead of telling, ask better questions. Real life example, they're not doing enough cold calls. And typically this is what you'd say, right? Do more cold calls, how come you're not doing this? Just do those cold calls, right? Instead of telling them to do more cold calls, you could rephrase it into a question and say, what could help you to do more calls? What exactly is holding you back from doing more calls? Whatever challenge that you face with a specific team member, convert it into a question. If they are struggling converting, let's say, customers, for example, ask them, right? What exactly is holding you back from closing more clients? How can I help you closing more clients? Now you see what this does. Number one, it helps them to, as we said earlier in the video, think. And when they start thinking, this is what happens. They begin to look inwards. They begin to rationalize. They begin to look and think like, okay, what are my options? And when they see their options, what you're doing now is you're helping them to see clearer. You get more clarity. And then with more clarity, wouldn't they be able to make better decisions? Yeah, they would. Very much like how we would as well. But there's another bonus that comes with that too when you ask better questions, you see? When you ask from the heart, from an angle of care, what that does also, it opens them up, right? Vulnerability. Vulnerability is one, we're not going to go deep into that today, but it's one of the major topics of basically, personal development, productivity of today, right? It's all got to do with vulnerability, putting your walls down. But the thing about putting walls down is helping to facilitate communication. And only when there is a two-way street communication, then you can begin to see, okay, how you can help them, and vice versa, they would know how to ask for help. Now, if they do that, wouldn't that just help them move forward already? Yeah. Now the third point now, the last one I'm going to share with you now is offer help unconditionally. So what I mean by that now is put yourself out there for them. Make yourself available for them, right? Let them know that you are here for them. Now I know, if you are here based in an Asian country, Malaysian countries, the thing about people who, we all live here, we are actually afraid of asking questions. And the thing about that is, what can we as team leaders do is extend our helping hand, put out a platform. Now, team, if you need any help whatsoever, right, I am here for you. You can basically reach out anytime, right? Just make sure you come and ask me for any help. There we go. 3 simple tips. Number 1, lead by example. Number 2, ask better questions. Reframe those challenges into questions. And number 3, offer help unconditionally. If you can do these 3, you won't even need to control your team. They will be self-motivated. You will get more cohesiveness. And I tell you this, that's how your team's gonna grow, but more importantly, how you are gonna take your career to the next level and become that great leader that you're supposed to become. All right, everybody, I hope you learned something new today. So Coach Alex signing out. I will see you next time.